So Mahatma brings salvation. Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, they are all the way. They are saying, basically, focus, worship the good and follow good. What's conversion then? What we hold to be conversion in, well, possibly any faith. It's this turning around where suddenly you have an overwhelming, well, not necessarily suddenly, but where you end up with an overwhelming purpose to follow that which is good, to make that your life. And goodness is, by definition, good and true, consistent, enduring, steadfast, full of hope and joy, peace and love and kindness, and all the qualities that any person can tell you God would have. Mahatma brings this path, this way, the only way of salvation to you. It's as simple as could be. Do that which is good. Seek after the good. And the good you will have in abundance and flowing over, life eternal. Heaven, if you like. Both now, kingdom of heaven's within you, and eternally, my Father's house and many mansions. And the Father is the personhood of the one that drives the being of all, being itself, the creator of all that is and all that isn't, being itself. Your very foundation, if you like, your spiritual genetic structure. It's of this integrity and magnetism that makes the integrity of the thoughts that are consistent with one another. All the rest is chaos. But the amalgamation of all that which is consistent of all else from the chaos is life. In other words, that which is consistent in the chaos holds together by definition, and always has. Now, whether God also created the chaos or not, I don't know. I do know that the chaos once existing, that which is consistent in the chaos comes together and makes what is possible. If you like, the impartial making of such is what's conceivable, And the possible is what endures, at least partially, temporarily, and the eternal is the consistent, eternally coming together from an endless chaos of the conceivable. Well, in our terms, that requires mind, and it requires a chaos to work on. But I think that's only conceiving the situation in terms of what we understand of the time and space and matter world that we're living in, those dimensions. Whereas what we're talking about is dimensions much more than that. And well, to say the least, that's hard to express in these dimensions in the terms that we're used to. But it's something of that. But the understanding is not really important. It's fascinating, but in itself it's a byroad. For by definition, only the infinite could understand the infinite. And that's sort of what we're talking about, life eternal and God and so on. So we know we're only really understanding by analogy, and we may be convinced that we understand and we've got it, but wow, we're still in the world of uncertainty and we're not sure. Because we are talking in symbols and so on, we're not the eternal, grasping the eternal. And when we are, we're in a reality that, well, can't be expressed in the, if you like, the unreality of the conventional understanding of things here in the world of matter. So, coming back to more important things, how do we achieve life eternal? Well, you have to come to know God. How do you do that? Well, you need to focus on God. You need to look at Him. You need to be conscious of everything that's godly. Whatsoever is good and lovely, look at, seek it out, think on these things, and you'll come to know God. So that's our practice. And we are quickly lifted from life's ocean of good and bad, the fruit of good and evil, the sort of contradictions of temporal life into life eternal. So, if you would enter into life, keep the commandments. In other words, practice goodness. And if you would enter a life eternal where you have the fullness of life, the eternal riches, well, you have to devote yourself to whatsoever is good and lovely. And you will rise fast in spiritual experience of the wonderful company of God and His family and the host of heaven. It's as simple as that. It's not so simple to understand how and why and all the rest of it. And of course that's the great final byroad, isn't it? You're attracted to a religion, but in the end you're just attracted to It's doctrinal understanding, and that's always imperfect, of course, because you haven't travelled far yet along actually doing it, knowing God. And the more you do know God, well, the less you're interested in specifically understanding the nuts and bolts of things. You're far more involved in knowing God, being a child of God, and becoming a full member of the heavenly host, his family, life eternal. Thank you, Heavenly Father.